Welcome back to the Hot Apple Cider Podcast. Today we're talking about nutrition and its face in the eyes of takeout. The takeout industry has been going strong for the longest, who knows how many years at this point, and people tend to cook less and less and less. 54% of Canadians are now taking takeout as their meal option at least once a week, whereas it's even 3 to 5 times in the US. With us today we have Katie McDonald, and we are going to talk about nutrition and its face in the eyes of takeout. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm so excited. This is my first podcast, so this is like my podcast debut.
Look at us. We seem to have a podcast version every episode. Okay, so today we have a lot to talk about. We do want to start out by your favorite little plug, Stack MasterCard. There is a link in the description. If you go ahead and you click on our link and you sign up for it using that link, you will get $5 in your account just to start off. We do also get the same, which just goes back and towards helping this podcast grow by adding additional equipment and new features. So that's pretty much gets that out of the way. Cooking at home, why do you think it's going down?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. I think there's a lot of reasons. I think that a large portion of the younger generation isn't maybe as confident in the kitchen as like maybe our parents or grandparents. I think there's also this demand of like work and school and the struggle of balancing a work life. Like that work-life balance is hard. And so takeout's an easy option if you don't think you have the time, or if you're maybe just not feeling it. Takeout can be like that quick, easy solution.
So you're saying that like people our age may not be as good in the kitchen. Why do you think that is? So like if our parents were the type to cook, and I mean even today, if I can cook, but if I go home and my mom's cooking, it's a whole new day. It is a new day. So like for us, what do you think it is that we don't cook as well? Like have we just not taken the time? Did our parents not teach us properly? I mean, like, time is an issue. Yeah, takeout's easy, but, like, I mean, nothing beats a home-cooked meal, so why are we throwing that off to the side now for some of these subpar takeout places all the time? Even though in some cases, they may cost us more.
Oh, man, I think that I'm not going to diss anyone's parents in this episode. I think
all of you parents, what were you doing to us? We want food, and we can't afford the crappy takeout that we get on a daily basis. She may not. I'm calling y'all out.
I think that, like, I grew up with a very strong Dutch background, so a lot of the meals that I know how to make are, like, those traditional Dutch dishes. And that might not be for everyone's taste, but I think that that's that's my version of a home-cooked meal, is like these traditional Dutch dishes that maybe you can't even buy the ingredients for at the grocery store, like in the average grocery store. So those are some barriers. If you're used to having traditional dishes, then you might have to go to a more traditional grocery store or like an ethnic grocery store type of thing. So that might be one barrier. And I think another one is that, like, the skill of cooking is not as necessary nowadays. Because of this rise of takeout or fast food, you don't have to know how to cook, because the options to get any food from any country in the world is, like, available to you. You don't have to know how to cook, like, an East Indian dish or a Caribbean dish or a traditional Dutch dish at home anymore, because you can just go get it from the store for maybe less time than it would take you to cook at home. Or maybe you don't even know how to make them. Like, I love Thai food. I don't know how to make Thai food at all.
I can definitely, like, vouch for, like, if I want, like, a different kind of food, like, a different culture, I'm probably going to go to takeout. Or dine in. One of the two, right? I'm Middle Eastern. So anything in that regard, I'm just below the skill of my mother, you know? Like, just below. She, like, taught me just enough that it's like, you won't cook a better family dinner.
It's like a competition, right?
Right? Well, it's not even a competition. I was never given the option to compete. It's like, okay, you're at 99%, this is where you stop. That one little secret ingredient that makes it as good as mine, you don't get that.
One day.
On her deathbed, I may get to like figure it out. Hopefully very far away. But when it comes to like regular meals, like I can cook that, you know, like if I want spaghetti or pasta, or if I want to make pizza at home, or if I want to cook like a steak or chicken dinner, all that kind of stuff I can do. Middle Eastern dishes, I got it. Yeah, obviously if I want like Thai food, Chinese, if I want Indian food, which is a rarity because like they don't generally serve you like a gallon of milk with it, so it's kind of harder to take in. I like spicy food. Middle Easterns like spicy food, but at some point, you just need like a gallon of milk.
Oh man, I think that like I love baking more than I love cooking, and I think there's an important difference between those. So like if you think of like, I know a lot of people who love to bake and a lot of people who aren't as confident in their cooking skills. And so that's a difference as well. I think that when you're younger, like you might remember the first things you made with your parents were like brownies or chocolate chip cookies or really easy, simple dishes for children to make. Whereas like if you're thinking
Scrambled eggs.
if you're thinking something more like elegant, like the average person doesn't know how to necessarily like cook cod to perfection or cook like a Wellington to like Gordon Ramsay level. So I think that like that's a deterrent as well. We expect that the people and the chefs who are behind the meals that we get in takeout or dine in are like 5-star, they know it to perfection, when in reality YouTube could teach us any cooking skill we needed to know.
I mean, like I had like some sliced cucumbers and sliced tomato around the scrambled egg, and I had like one single olive in the middle of the plate, and it was just like looking all fancy and whatnot. I thought I was like 5-star, ready to open up my own restaurant of scrambled eggs at the age of like 4. Apparently it looked like shit. But hey, I thought it looked pretty darn good.
Gordon Ramsay would be impressed.
You know what, low key, I think I did one at the time, so like find a way to get his opinion on it. So yeah, we talked about time consumption, no talent. What about the idea of mess? I feel like a lot of people don't like to clean anymore. Everything's like, as much as you can have something else do it for you. Like I'm planning on buying a Roomba for like $600 to vacuum my place for me because I don't want to do it anymore. So mess. The idea of mess is probably not good because it's really just gonna deter people, I feel like, because nobody wants to have to clean anymore.
I think that's a big one. I absolutely despise dishes. I cannot stand washing the dishes. And I'm so grateful my apartment right now has a dishwasher.
It's probably the only reason that I'd move out of this apartment into another apartment. Dishwasher.
But I think that like you need to learn, like there's a lot of skills that come into cooking at home that aren't just necessarily like the actual act of cooking. It's also this like you have to remember what groceries to get. You have to have that plan in mind. You have to learn how to clean while you cook. And not just use every dish in your kitchen and then realize at the end of your meal that now you have to rebuild an entire kitchen. So I think that like if you can slowly develop these skills, it helps you to learn to love cooking a little bit more. But I don't suggest you like try to learn everything at once. Start small.
Scrambled eggs.
With sliced cucumber.
And tomato. Cooking at home is actually cheaper. Like there's a few different options, right? If you don't want to eat at home, your options generally, everyone thinks restaurants, right? They're 5 times more expensive. Like that plate of food that you get, you're not just paying for the food. You're paying for the overhead, you're paying for the staff, you're paying for the waiters, the chef. All of that has a portion in there. So whatever that meal costs to actually make, you're paying 2 to 3 times generally, I believe, on average, sometimes more, and that is on the cost of their ingredients that they're getting. Keep in mind they're going to be buying in bulk, so it's even cheaper for them to buy food than it is for you. So that's kind of the idea of where you're paying 3 to 5 times what that food actually costed, or maybe like 2 to 3 times what you could have done it for.
Yeah.
You buy stuff. The other option is meal kits. Prep meals that come to your door once a month, once a week, once a day, whatever. Those are generally going to be around 3 times more expensive than what it would cost for you to make it yourself.
I kind of love where we're going here because I have done the takeout. I've done like living mostly off takeout or sit-in restaurant type things. I recently tried a meal kit and I loved it, but I also didn't love all aspects of that meal kit. But I really have started to learn to love cooking at home. I know your listeners don't really know my background story, but I've lived on my own since I was 15. So I've gotten
Feel free to share as much as you want.
I've gotten to know like a lot about like the financial aspects of like how do you balance like your wants, like if your want is time or a certain food, or you want to sit on the couch or you don't want to clean, like how do you balance that with like your finances in terms of food and nutrition? And so I've kind of experimented, and cooking at home, in my personal experience, is the best bang for your buck, as well as the most nutritious option if you know how to shop for the best ingredients.
Now, a lot of people will actually argue that, and actually it looks like my gain is a little bit low here, so I may have been a little quieter than you this whole time. I'm going to up it up a little bit. Hopefully that doesn't mess with everything else. It actually doesn't really look like it's moving much, so I guess maybe we're okay. Maybe I'm just talking too quiet. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, for anyone watching this on video, I know that was weird. Anyone on audio understands the struggle of when you sound like you're talking way too quiet. What's the idea of like people thinking that it's cheaper to eat out than it is to cook? I mean, a lot, like, yeah, there's some cities that's no question. You live in New York, you live in San Francisco, your apartment costs so much, and there are cheaper options. It's literally cheaper to eat out every day. You could go buy groceries, but realistically, you could probably have 3 meals for around $30 a day, possibly less, depending on what it is that you're trying to consume. Of course, you can have like a $500 dinner. You can have dinner for like $9 in some areas in those cities. So if we exclude those, how does that work out for people in the everyday? And I mean, I guess the same applies to Toronto. We're in Canada, so I kind of want to do that reference. Toronto's pretty expensive to live in. But yeah, a lot of people will think that it's cheaper to eat out than it is to cook their own meals.
I mean, it depends on what your diet looks like individually, right? Like everyone has different preferences. Everyone has different cravings for certain foods, whatever. But I think that when, especially like as someone who's unfamiliar with cooking, if you go into the grocery store and you see whole foods, and that includes like whole grains, vegetables that aren't pre-cut, pre-chopped, pre-cooked for you, that can be intimidating. I think that people look at that and they're like, I don't know how to, like, I have no idea how to cook.
All right, we lost the mic. My bad. Things happen.
I think that people don't, like, they look at like a butternut squash when it's whole and they are like, I have no idea how I'm supposed to like cut this up and how I'm supposed to use it, and so I'm just gonna opt not to get that. And so they go for stuff that they're familiar with, or stuff that maybe doesn't have as much nutritional value. So think like a lot of frozen meals is like people's next option. Like when they're moving away from takeout, they go to like a frozen meal, like a frozen lasagna or a frozen mac and cheese. And
Craft dinner.
I don't think that that's like the best choice in terms of nutrition, but it's also not the best option for your wallet. If you can take on cooking a pumpkin or a butternut squash, or if you can master how to like saute vegetables, you're ahead of the game. Like that's the way to get like a good amount of nutrition for a decent dollar. So I think that when people look at the cost of things they're confident in cooking at home, it can be like intimidating for them. And that's where they're like, oh, I could get like a way better meal if I just go to the restaurant instead.
Do you live alone?
I don't.
Okay, so how many people are in the home that you live in?
So I currently live with my boyfriend, Nick, but we eat 2 very different diets.
Okay. What would you guess that your weekly grocery costs are right now?
For the 2 of us eating 2 different diets, or for 1 person? So I'll speak to living alone, because I did live alone for a long time.
Because I could have played it both ways, but we can do it living alone.
So I'll do living alone because it's actually much cheaper to cook for multiple people, and I know that a big struggle is if you're only cooking for yourself, it either doesn't feel worth it, or it doesn't feel worth the cost or the time, or if you really hate dishes, it's a really big discouraging thing. If you're living alone, you're like, why would I even bother? But when I lived alone, I could get groceries for a week, including breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for less than $25 to $30 a week.
Okay, so that definitely would be cheaper than eating out, right?
And that's like being very savvy. Like, you can't do that if you're not being smart about what you're buying, when you're buying it, or utilizing like points, rewards, and stuff like that.
When you were shopping by yourself, did you already have your meals in mind? Or like, did you know what meals you were shopping for? Or were you just there to shop for groceries that you'd normally use?
For the first little while, I did have to like plan because I was so unfamiliar to like anything. I was used to just opening up the fridge and there being food in it, so I didn't have to like worry about that aspect. So I did have to plan for the first little while, and it was a rocky road. Like, I didn't just the first time I ever shopped for groceries for myself go out and spend $25 for the week and be like, yeah, I'm the best at this. It was like over the course of months and learning like what I used the most, what I didn't use at all and shouldn't buy anymore. And so at that time in my life, I also didn't have the financial resources to go and spend $100 a week on groceries. So when you're working within a financial constraint, don't feel that there is not a way for you to eat nutritious, healthy meals, because like, go online, find some resources, reach out to someone, reach out to me, and find a way to like make it work. Because I promise you, $25 a week made me a lot of food.
Now, the one thing that I do need to ask, do you eat meat?
I do.
And that fit into your $25 budget?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So,
because I mean, like, if I go buy like a tray of chicken breast right now, that's like $10 right there.
yes. So you have to be considerate. If you are a meat eater and you don't want to look at not eating meat, like if meat is your thing, go for it. But also understand the impact it has on your budget. So like, there are plant-based proteins now, or so that's like the plant-based chicken nuggets, the plant-based burgers, all of that. Or if you know that you're not getting enough protein, if you're not consuming any meat, like if you know that if you cut the meat out of your diet, you won't get enough protein, look at whole foods that are not processed that also contain protein. So I'm talking like legumes, nuts, seeds, that sort of thing. They might not satisfy your meat craving, but they'll satisfy your protein requirements.
Because that's where I was when you said 25 to 30, I'm like, okay, hold on. There is a significant shortage of straight up packaged meat in that grocery list. The average person, even living alone, will spend approximately $100 a week, roughly. For $100 a week or less, I could eat out every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I could do it.
Would you meet your nutritional requirements?
I totally could. See, you're giving me that look, but like I'm not gonna go to like McDonald's every single day,
it'd be
right?
tough. It'd be tough.
Like I could. So I'm realizing at this point in the podcast, well, no, I realized earlier, but I was hoping I could make it through, that we do have a side door that's currently open, and it's probably letting in a lot more noise than I'd like. Could we get that shut, please? Thank you. We have amazing staff at this podcast. Wonderful, thank you. You're the best. Okay, so what I'd most likely end up doing in these situations is I would do takeout, yes, but not fast food. So, for example, I could easily go get like, okay, people look at like a steak dinner, for example. 10 ounces of steak is a big steak. That is actually, it's like 0.12 pounds more than what your body needs in a week. Because your human body only needs half a pound of meat per week for optimal utilization. We eat approximately 2 pounds of meat per day. So we eat way more than we need. But my point being is I could get a steak dinner, and it's actually just slightly more expensive to go up a couple ounces when you buy a steak dinner. I could buy a steak dinner, take it out, and I could split that over 2 days. And realistically, that's going to be a lot cheaper than me going and actually making that steak dinner twice. If I wanted to go cook a steak dinner twice, because I know what it costs me for a steak right now, if I wanted to make a steak dinner twice, like the way that I get at a restaurant, it's going to cost me more. It will. And it won't be as good of a piece of meat. So I could do things like that. My breakfast, I don't need to like go out to like McDonald's, for example, and get like a whole bunch of different like breakfast sandwiches. I don't have to go outrageous. I can easily like throughout the day, like I'll buy like pieces of fruit from grocery stores and stuff like that. That's like my snacks. But yeah, if you eat pizza, if you buy a pizza and you're by yourself, that can last you a few days, and it doesn't go bad. So that's like options that you have, right? Whereas, I mean, it's not expensive to make pizza. It's much, much cheaper to make it yourself. There's no doubt about it. But if you do have a preference to a certain style of pizza, or if you do want a lot of toppings, the other thing is it gets expensive to add toppings onto your pizza. But realistically, I'd probably rather pay an extra $1 to put on an extra topping than to have to go buy an entire, tray of chicken breast or an entire package of like peppers or a whole can of like olives to make my pizza if I want a pizza like once a week for like a couple days, I guess. Then to have to like buy all that ingredients and then have it sit there. Because the biggest issue is you can't buy in the quantity that you need. You have to buy in the quantity that it's served at. And in a lot of times that just ends up costing you a lot more. And that becomes an issue because now you're paying for more than you need and realistically more than you'll utilize unless you're buying for the specific meals that you plan, which allows you to be more efficient with your utilization of the food and therefore save a lot more money.
You knew exactly where I was going to go with that.
Oh, I knew it. I saw it coming. I'm here to like play devil's advocate, and I'm here to like I just want to stress that I do eat at home. I do cook my own meals. I rarely eat out.
He doesn't love McDonald's that
I'm
much.
playing devil's advocate because it makes for a much better conversation.
And like that's it. Like I'm here for. Like I'm not a nutrition expert. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not any sort of like nutritionist type person. Like I do work in health and wellness, and I'm really passionate about nutrition and healthy eating and fueling your body right or as well as you can. But I'm no expert. So I'll offer advice, but I don't take my comments as like the be all end all. I definitely think that one, if you're trying to see if you can cut the amount that you're spending on food, like let's say you eat out a lot, if you're looking to see if you can cut that amount down, I really encourage you to plan in advance, like plan 2 or 3 meals, because in reality, it's hard to cook for one serving, like one person, one serving. So, I really say like only plan 2 or 3 meals and eat leftovers. Like if you're looking to save money, while still eating in a nutritional, like as nutritious as possible, learn to love leftovers. And if you know how to cook some good meals, like if you know how to cook traditional meals, you know that like the leftovers are bomb. So just like go to the grocery store with a plan of like what are your foods going to look like for that week, what meals you're planning, what are your snacks going to be. And when you're planning, try to make sure they match up in a way. Like if you like mushrooms on your pizza and you want to make pizza that week and you're going to buy a thing of mushrooms instead of buying them individually, make sure that you can utilize the rest of those mushrooms that are left over or that you don't use as pizza toppings in some other dish.
Would you say that you'd be able to cook a meal at home for free?
For free? Like
absolutely nothing. No, nothing spent at all.
Like with what's in my cupboard?
No.
Or
like straight up, you have nothing. Can you do it?
Can I do it?
You have no ingredients, you have no money, you have nothing. Can you
Well,
do it? Probably not, right?
Not unless I want to eat.
But if you were to go
chips
ahead and
ice.
sign up for Stack MasterCard right now, link in the description, you'll get $5 put in your account right off the bat. You can go use that and get yourself a burger from pretty much any fast food joint. All right, we're moving on to the next topic. Okay, so we talked a lot about eating out versus takeout, things like that, which is the main topic of the podcast. But the thing that I'm thinking about the most right now is just nutrition in general. Are people healthy? Why do people tend to not care about their health as much today as we may have in the past? And I mean, the past has some like dark sides. There's like some very unhealthy periods in the past, don't get me wrong. But in today's day and age, it's either you're super healthy, you're like on that huge Instagram fitness level when it comes to like health, or you're at McDonald's like 5 times a week and you're like, yeah, my Big Mac, I got it. I almost said like some other sandwich that doesn't come from McDonald's. That would have been bad. But yeah, why do you think people don't care as much?
I think that, one, it's important to recognize, like, health means something different to every single person. So, like, we're not out here to, like, tell you that if you're eating at McDonald's, you're unhealthy necessarily, but, like, just be aware.
Look, I've seen some people that are, like, healthy, shredded, that model for fitness, that have McDonald's for breakfast every single day. It is doable. It is. If you burn more calories than what you're eating, and the rest of your stuff is all healthy, you're okay. You don't have to cut out fast food. But I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I think like health means something different to everyone, but like healthy eating and creating those healthy eating habits can be so beneficial to your life in so many different ways. But like I think that we are stuck right now in culture of like unhealthy habits around nutrition. And of course there's like unhealthy mindsets about our bodies, or like unhealthy mindsets about like what is mental health and what that entails. But in terms of nutrition, I think that people have a skewed idea of what they do or do not need in terms of nutrition. And so this includes like your vitamins, minerals, what the caloric value of your food should be. And then there's also like diet culture. So especially like recently, if you go on Instagram, everyone is like on some sort of diet, or like I eat keto, I don't eat meat, I like there's 1,000 different things that you could take on to try to improve your health. My big thing is like do not take on any sort of brand new diet without talking to your family physician or your doctor if you have health issues. Like, and that means like drastic changes.
Read the fine print if you're also buying those keto pills. They're...
Or anything.
Don't take them, actually. Anything... Okay, sorry. Not even related.
Sidetrack.
Anything that says, just pay shipping. You're not just paying shipping, okay? Read the fine print. It's a subscription, and they're going to charge you hundreds of dollars a month to keep getting that same little bottle of pills.
I feel like someone really hurt you in the past. So, well, pills and supplements is a huge topic. And I am definitely not an expert in like supplements for like bodybuilding or any of that. Like, I am not a bodybuilder. I don't know. I don't compete in comps. Not my jam. That being said, there's a difference between a nutritional supplement and a dietary supplement. So there's different regulations around like what a meal replacement supplement has to look like in Canada, and like what a pill or herbal remedy type supplement has to look like. And some of those things aren't even regulated. So that's really, really, really important to know.
You did mention something though.
Yeah.
So you said meal replacement supplement. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the idea of meal replacements? Because I'm 100% against them.
I think it's a hard topic. I'm the type of person who has a protein shake every single morning, and that is breakfast for me. But I also eat a lot of whole foods over the course of like in general in my diet. So I don't think that they should be a be-all end-all type of weight loss sort of thing. Like, if you have the option to consume whole food over a meal replacement, I really, really encourage you to do that.
Because there's like a lot of people that, I mean, breakfast is a little bit harder with like if you're having a protein shake, especially if you're putting in like fruit and all that kind of stuff. But basically, a lot of people nowadays, as their method of losing weight, will replace meals with meal replacement shakes. And the reality is, they don't contain the vitamins that you need. They don't. They'll contain some, but not everything that you need. And in the long scheme of things, it's just actually going to end up being unhealthy. Even if you lose the weight, it's not a healthy option.
I think that there was this big push, like, within the last 10 years, we saw, like, the evolution of diets, like, Slim Fast, or, like, there were, like, these, like, teas that I don't know if you remember this, like, on Instagram, that if you, like, drank the tea, then it would help you, like, lose all the extra weight you had.
They're still there. Don't you worry, they're
there. So I definitely don't advise you, like, think that drinking tea is going to solve all your issues. I think that you need to find yourself some method of developing healthy eating habits. And if you can do that without supplementing your diet, or without replacing 2 of your meals every day, I really, really encourage that, because I don't think that like a liquid diet for the average person is the way to go.
No, not at all.
There are cases that maybe that's what your doctor has decided is best for you, and like 100% go for it.
There's specific medical situations that's different, but like.
But don't go into Walmart and buy Slim Fast and think that that's going to solve all your problems.
Realistically, you're better off not using any kind of weight loss or fat burner as your method. If you're trying to cut weight, get in the gym, or get a more active or healthy lifestyle. Maybe get a job that isn't at a desk. Maybe if you work a desk job, see if you can get a standing desk. See if you can get a desk with a treadmill. Not to run, but to walk. Especially if you're in a call center. Like, I don't want to hear you, I don't want to talk to you while you run like a marathon. That's just going to suck. You're going to sound out of breath the whole time and I won't understand you. But get a more active lifestyle, or get in the gym, because if you're gaining weight, it comes from 2 things. You're either A, eating too much, or B, you're too inactive for the amount that you're eating. If you're not eating very much and you're still gaining weight, chances are you just need to be a little bit more active. If you're not active at all, I suggest you start there.
So there's like, for the average person, if you don't have any sort of health issue, and commonly this is like a thyroid problem, where it's like your weight loss or weight gain is off compared to the normal.
And of course, I'm not talking towards any medical standpoints or medical situations or difficulties, just the average person. So yeah, there are situations like that, which is a whole different ball game. Right?
If you have those issues and you're finding that like you're consuming the right amount of calories for your like your body to feel like you're energized enough, but you're either rapidly and you're active, but you're either rapidly gaining or rapidly losing weight, definitely go check in with your doctor, see what's up. But for the average person, it's like weight gain will happen if your caloric value is higher than necessary, and weight loss will happen if you lower your caloric intake. And so that means like you can either increase exercise or lower the amount that you're eating. So I think that like people kind of forget that. Like it's like something that's so, like we overthink it. I know especially like as a woman, like I'm like very conscious of what I put in my body, because I feel like there's this pressure of like you can't be healthy if you eat bad. And I know that's something that like a lot of women deal with, or like I have to work out 20,000 hours a day because I have to burn off all of these calories. And so there's this pressure, but like you and I were talking about this earlier, even before we did the podcast, like I am so passionate about like, yes, you should fuel your body in like the best way possible, but like we're also on earth for a very, very short time. So I live an 80-20 diet. I eat 80% healthy, 20% of the time-ish, or when I'm feeling it, I eat like an unhealthy or like more processed food, or something I know that like my body doesn't need, but like I want it type of thing. So like I'm a big chocolate person. I cannot say no to chocolate.
Same, very much so.
So like maybe I'll have eaten.
I got a look from the. Yeah.
We're getting looks.
I like chocolate.
But like, so I can't say no to chocolate. So like I might have eaten great the whole day, but I've like learned not to feel bad if I'm going to have like that little piece of chocolate from my advent calendar sort of thing.
I mean, hey, some chocolate's actually healthy too. Like if you get that like the really dark chocolate, it's actually not that bad for you. It may not taste
depending.
As good. That's true.
I love dark chocolate.
That's true.
I love all chocolate.
There's different kinds, right? Like it's within reason. But like just because like your regular chocolate bar releases a dark version, that doesn't make it healthy.
So I think like I think that that's like something like learning that you don't have to, one, have a healthy diet, or two, be
you don't have to restrict yourself.
The gym person in your friend group to like be healthier for your body to feel good. You don't have to be a nutrition expert to feel like you can cook your own meals or feel like confident in the vegetable section of the grocery store. Like you can slowly learn those things. And I think that like supplements are great if you need them. If you don't need them, like if you're taking a calcium supplement but you're getting enough calcium from your diet, your body doesn't use that. It's not like you can build up an extra store of like potassium in your body in a healthy way to like save up for the days that you don't eat the right amount of vitamins or minerals.
So that's actually like a great transition into supplements, because that is what we're going to be finishing off the podcast with today. But it's a great point that you mentioned about the idea of if you have enough in your diet, you don't need to supplement. But I even want to like twist on that a little bit. If you are taking a supplement, the idea is it's a supplement, it's something in addition. Take it within the appropriate dosage and not more. Creatine, for example, if you were to take that in excess of its actual dosage, it's not fun. It does not feel good, and
It can have adverse health effects.
Look, whoever thought it was a good idea to like release creatine with a scoop and you still have to weigh it? Why, man? Why? I'm not gonna weigh it on a scale. I'm gonna eyeball it. And chances are, every single time that I've taken creatine, I took too much. It was not fun.
So I think it's so important to remember that, like, if you are looking at dietary supplements, it's a supplement, it's not a substitute.
Oh, 100%. So, like...
So even, like, if you have an iron deficiency, a lot of the times you might be offered an iron supplement pill from your doctor. He'll give you a prescription, or you can pick them up at the pharmacy or the grocery store. But ideally, you're still getting that from
your meals,
from your diet. Like, and of course, this is still like medical conditions aside. If you're just like...
Well, no, even in medical conditions, like if you're someone that has like an iron deficiency, you want to make sure that you're still eating the right stuff. Like red meats, that's a good place to start. Red grape juice,
spinach,
also very
legumes,
good. Spinach, yeah, 100%.
Almonds.
There's a lot of stuff. So if you're in a situation, I mean, someone in a medical situation most likely has done the research. On the average, if you have like a little bit of an iron deficiency, you probably didn't care to do the research. You probably should. Like, actually take the time to just go do the research, find out what your situation's like, even if it's minor, and find out what can you do to just make it better.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to do to make your situation better than the way that it currently is? Because we can all improve on some point or aspect in our health and nutrition, and that's a big thing.
And I think, like, so my friends always laugh because I am a fourth-year medical sciences student at Brock. And
I made it 2 years and then dropped.
I 100% believe in medication when necessary. I'm 100% for vaccines. But I'm not always for medication as a first resort.
Absolutely not.
So when my friends get a cold, or when I get a cold, or if someone's like not feeling super well, my first reaction is like, what have you eaten? Have you eaten enough of this? Like, what can you give your body to make it feel better that isn't a prescription?
I just shoved chicken noodle soup in their face and like, drink this.
So I really truly believe that like you can heal your gut by making healthier choices, and that can have a huge impact on everything else. And so I'm not like some rah-rah person, but like you need to educate yourself on like nutrition and healthy eating, and like the difference between processed and whole food, and like how that looks for you. And if you need to supplement, but be aware. So like you said, read the labels, know the concentrations, know the dosages, know what else is in those pills. Because
oh my God, yeah.
Don't take a pill without knowing what exactly is in it. Like, it might say iron supplement on the front of the bottle if you're getting it from a pharmacy.
There could be so much more in that pill.
But like, what else? Because you don't want to be overdoing it on certain drugs to get enough of, or certain supplements to get enough of another. Mm-hmm. So like knowing that, and knowing your body and what it needs, and like keep a food diary. As lame as that is, if you need to keep a food diary to see like what foods, like if you're feeling crummy, mm-hmm. write down everything you eat for like 2 weeks and be like, okay, on this day I ate this and I felt the worst.
You'd be surprised how much you realize that you're eating things that you shouldn't be eating, and you're eating them in excess, and that's why you're no longer feeling very well. And
so like I said, like I do work in health and wellness, and we do have a program that helps people identify the foods that make them feel crummy. Yeah. And it's not like you have to cut those out 100% of the time. Like if you eat chocolate and all of a sudden you feel crappy, that doesn't mean you can't ever eat chocolate again in your entire life.
You have to ration things out within reason.
So that's like where my passion for like helping others see the value came from. But like I love nutrition. I could talk about it all day.
Do you yourself take any supplements?
So I do use a protein powder and I do use a fiber boost. I am not the best vegetable eater in terms of like green veggies or that sort of thing. I love fruit, but like I have to make the conscious decision to like be like I'm gonna eat a vegetable today.
I think there's like a greens drink now. You just kind of like pour it in water, you shake it up, and then like you just drink it. And it's like the same thing, and I'm like, oh my god.
So like I have to make that conscious decision. So like a lot of your fiber that your body can actually utilize will come from veggies or like whole foods. And so I do take a fiber boost because I don't like I'm trying to eat more high fiber foods, but I don't always reach my goal. So
Yeah. I'm kind of taking like the whole fitness approach with my supplements. So like I take a little bit more. Protein. I take a few. Hold on, I got them written down. Because it's bad. I mean, not really. They're all good. Yeah, but protein, BCAAs, a multivitamin, and
what's in your multivitamin?
it's kind of like a mix of every. I'm not gonna list it all out because there's like way too much. We could read the label if you
Know
want.
what's in your multivitamins.
Basically, what I personally use is the Centrum brand for men under 50. That's the one that I currently.
Under 50, what a unique choice.
I mean, hey.
There are different vitamin levels that
yeah.
you need to reach at different.
It changes
options.
the ratio, right? Some vitamins I think may actually get dropped or added once you reach that point, but it's a lot of the ratio and the quantity, which is the big thing. I'll also take a pre-workout. I may have mentioned that. I don't take it consistently. The pre-workout is definitely on a per workout basis, so depending on how I feel and when I'm working out. If I'm working out at midnight, I generally don't take pre-workout. I'll actually probably just be like, because if I'm working out at midnight, it's because my shift ended then. So I'm probably taking in like a bunch of caffeine between 10 p.m. to midnight for that specifically. Whereas pre-workout is generally like during the day, earlier in the morning, if I'm just feeling really tired or if I stayed up really late the night before, then I'll use it the following day to give me that boost that I need. Other than that, I have taken creatine in the past. I don't currently take it. I've taken fat burners in the past. I've been off of it for a while. I can't really think of anything else that I'm currently on. So I think it is mainly those four that I currently take. However, I may be mixing that up a little bit as I am about to start a bit of a shredding journey. So I do have a plan in place for that, which if you actually look in the description, there's a YouTube link to a new channel that I've started that there's nothing on it at this time, or I mean I guess there might be by the time that this episode launches, but it's called Beyond Comfort, and there will be a full documentary of the whole entire 6 weeks process from start to finish of the shred journey, which will contain everything I'm going to be eating, all the supplements that I take, the workouts that I do, the day-to-day life, the shopping, the cooking, all of that will be included in that documentary, and that's going to be over the entire course of the 6 weeks process. So that's pretty much the supplements that I take, and of course that's all going to be correlated with the gym going that I'm doing. So I'm currently in a bulking phase, so I'm actually a lot heavier than I normally am. So I'm actually quite looking forward to this whole shred journey that I've got coming up, and that comes with health. I mean, if you're trying to put on muscle, you're not going to be able to do it without eating. So like your health and your nutrition and your food consumption has to correlate with what it is that you're trying to do. If you want to gain muscle, you want to gain weight, you got to eat more. You want to lose muscle, I don't know why, or if you want to lose weight, you got to eat less. You got to change the way that you train. You got to change the way that you live your life, your activity level, the things that you do on a regular basis. All of that is very important. It's all going to be highly correlated. Like I said, I did 2 years of medical sciences and then I kind of stopped. So my medical standpoint isn't very, very high. I did a year at paramedics and then I stopped that too. It's pretty bad. But basically, I have that a little bit of medical background, not much, but a little bit. But I got a lot more when it comes to fitness and health. That's the stuff where I excelled at. It's the stuff that had my interest from the get-go. And it's all the stuff that I've studied along the years now because I've probably been changing my body shape for years now. I've been working out since the 11th grade. So probably about 6 years now that I've been doing this for. So I've been on and off. I've gained weight, I've lost weight, I've done it multiple times. But at the end of the day, yeah, like you got to find out what your goal is, what it is that you want to do, and your nutrition and your eating habits and your activity is all going to be highly correlated. So whether it comes down to you're someone that's going to need to eat out on a consistent basis to be able to take in the amount of calories and the amount of variation of food that you need, or you're someone that's going to have to cook at home to be able to scale back and be very precise with all of your macros, your story changes all the time. So if you're someone that's going to eat out, eat out. If you're going to eat in. There's financial costs, there's health costs. Just make the proper decision when you make that decision, and I think that's going to be the most important part in reaching your health goals.
Yeah, I think it's so important what you said. Like, right now you're in this season that's looks different than the season that you're gonna go into, and Absolutely. So like your nutrition is gonna change what you
drastically
what you're eating man. Right now.
Yo, when I started bulking, I was like, yo, food coma every night, and now I'm gonna be like, this is all I'm gonna eat. Like,
so I think that bodybuilders and people who do these bulk shred seasons, or if you're like a comp person, you have such a strong understanding of how food impacts not only the way you look but the way you feel.
Absolutely.
Because I know that like sometimes shred season is a struggle for people. Like sometimes they don't feel at their best. Like if you're a comp person, when you get to the day of comp, like you're not feeling like the best you've ever felt in your life in terms of like how your body feels. Like a lot of times that's tired. You feel kind of slow in terms of like the way your body can work. Like, you could do better with a few more calories. But it's like that was their goal. That's the goal that was set. And so like using nutrition as a way to meet that. But I think that like they have such a strong understanding of that impact. And I think that some people feel that unless they're doing like bikini body competitions, they can't use nutrition in the same way. And I think that it's so important for us to like move towards a culture that is understanding that like nutrition impacts so much more than just like what you're going to eat every day. Like it's so much more than that.
I think that is a really good way to put it. I'd like to personally thank everyone that stayed along for the episode today. It was a pleasure having you guys here. If you did watch the entire episode, thank you for giving us that time. Katie, did you have any final thoughts? Anything you want to say to finish off the episode today?
Oh man, I don't know. This is so much fun. I love connection, and I love that you've like kind of started this community where it's like you're free to come and chat. So I really encourage everyone to like look at your diet choices and are they meeting your goals? Like, is it going to lead you to be able to perform at your best and meet your goals? And if anyone has questions, like, feel free to reach out to the podcast and they can direct you to me. I can help you out. But nutrition can be so important.
Absolutely. And yeah, like you said, this is a great platform for talking. Really, the idea of this podcast is going to be to have people come on. We're going to talk about different topics. If there's a topic that you want to address, send us a message. Let us know. We'll go ahead and we'll do it. If there's topics that you just want us to cover and you're not like particularly wanting to be on the show or you can't get to the show, go ahead and comment it down below in the comment section. We want to keep the show running. Your topics, your ideas, what you want to hear is what's going to keep this podcast moving, and that's going to be the way to do it. So again, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Again, Stack MasterCard, there is a link in the description. If you're someone that travels, this will get rid of those 2.5% fees that your banks will charge you when you travel. So this is a good alternative. It uses your own money. There's no credit. There's no credit check. Anything that you can spend on this is your own. They do also have offers on there to save you some money at different places that you shop. So there is a lot of benefit to it. But Yeah, thank you. There is a link in the description if you're interested, as well as some other affiliated things that we deal with. So you can click on those if you're interested in them as well. But again, thank you for spending your time with us today, and have yourself a fantastic rest of your week. We'll see you on the next episode.